Hey folks, welcome back to Markelly Farm. I'm excited. Time to get back out into the shop and get back on something that's been waiting a while on us. Stick around. So we have our barbecue we've been working on. We've got this wooden shelf cutting board plank here that we're going to be putting on the side of the barbecue. Now, I don't like using regular bolts with wood because as the wood expands and contracts, you've got the nuts on the bottom and the nuts always fall off. And then you're left with a loose board. So what we're going to do is we're going to put rivet nuts in here. So we don't have to worry about the nuts loosening up and falling off and disappearing because those won't come out. All we'll need is screws to screw it down. So now we're going to countersink our holes just a little bit. Now that we have our holes where we need them, we're going to remove our board and we can drill the actual hole for our rivet nut. So now you take your rivet nut tool, open it up, which allows the mandrel to come out, and you screw your rivet nut, proper size, right onto the end, and then you just put the rivet nut down into your hole like that, and then you pull your handles together as far as you can, and that sets the rivet nut in the hole, and then you just use this handle to unscrew the mandrel from your rivet nut, and you have a threaded insert into your material. Let's do that one more time for you. The rivet nuts have little serrated edges on them here so they hold and keep from spinning in the hole when you're tightening the screw up. So just throw it into your hole, pull your handles together as far as you can, about like that. Unscrew it. Easy peasy. We'll get the rest of these done. Now that we have all of our rivet nuts in place, take our wooden deck here, line up the holes, and the holes will be right where you need them. Because remember, we drilled right through that wood. So everything's right where we need it. Just like that. No extra wrenches or anything like that. There you go, folks. Nice clean installation. Now we have that exact scenario right here because I have this metal sign that's going to be mounted to the back side of the barbecue. We're not going to be able to hold nuts on the other side to bolt this on. So we're going to use our rivet nuts for this application so we can do it from one side. Now we're going to use the torch to radius this sign to the tank. Alright, we got our sign contoured to the tank with a little bit of heat. So now we're going to cut little standoff spacers to space that out from the tank. Alright folks, got her mounted. That looks pretty slick. I like it. Turning into a beautiful day outside. Alright, I think next thing we're going to do is we're going to start getting our trailer down here ready for making our wood box and putting our sides on here. So I'm going to take some 2-inch angle iron. I need to make a piece for this edge over here, so when we weld the expanded metal in the bottom, it has a lip to sit on. For that piece, we're going to use a piece of 2-inch angle at 41.5 inches, and we're going to use our new cold saw for this. So get some earplugs because they're pretty loud. Now, if you've never seen a cold saw, see, I can touch this right now. It's not even hot, unlike an abrasive saw. It makes it pretty cool. And it's really fast, a lot faster than our bandsaw. So let's get this piece welded on. Got that piece on. Now we need to cut a piece for the front. Going to do the same thing up there. Okay, we've got the front one in. Had to cut it on an angle on both sides because of the tongue piece coming back there. I'm out of angle iron and I don't have the expanded metal to finish this bottom. So what I'm going to do now is I built this burner for a big pot years ago, and it fits my big pot perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount it here on the front of the barbecue. So it actually fits right where it's at right now. All we'll have to do is just weld it in and then cut the legs off, and it'll be perfect right there. We'll make sure it's level with the rest of the trailer, and we'll just weld it in place, and then later on I can just cut the bottoms of those legs off once we get it outside and I can lift it up. Got our pot burner welded on. So the next thing we're going to do is I need to put a kicker port into our firebox. And what that is just a round pipe going into the firebox with a little swivel cover on it that I can open up and shove my propane torch into, which will help us start the fire, and it also kicks the heat up into the cooking chamber. So let's find a piece of pipe we can weld in there. See, our burner is about 1 3/8 inches outside diameter. So we need to find a piece of pipe that's 1.5 inches inside diameter. That's right on 1 3/8 inches. Maybe we'll just see if it fits in that. Yep, that's going to work. Perfect. Okay, the grate in the firebox is 4 inches up off the bottom. So we'll come over here at about 8 inches or so, put a pipe down at an angle, cut a hole here, weld that pipe right into the side. Well, I went to burn my hole and then I hit something. Well, I forgot there's fire brick inside up to about 10 inches, so that's not going to work. We've got to come up above 10 inches and we'll burn it there, and then we'll just put it at a little bit steeper angle. Be fine. Well, a 10-minute job has turned into a half-hour repair because I forgot that the brick and the angle iron go in a ways, so I came just above it. Well, that didn't allow me to get an angle, so I had to come even further up. So now I got a big hole down there. I'm just going to get a piece of square plate, cut it with a hole saw to fit over that pipe, and then weld it right over that hole. We'll be fixed up. Well, we're back in business. So just got to cut the pipe the length now and then make a little flapper for the end, and then we'll weld it in. Okay, our kicker port is done. Got a little door welded on it here. Keeps it closed. So I think what I'm going to do now is, we're kind of at a standstill until we get the rest of our metal. I'm going to go to town, get what I need so we can get back on this thing. Well, folks, it's the next day and I just made it back from town. Been in town all morning, but we got some steel that we need. Got some 1.5-inch angle iron, got 2 sheets of expanded metal, and a couple little odds and ends we needed, so now we can get back on the trailer. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to continue on with our angle iron frame down here for our expanded metal bottom. So we'll cut a piece for here and a piece for the other side, and then we'll cut some little short pieces to go in here. Got all of our angles in all the way around for our expanded metal to sit into. We already have this existing strut that goes across here. It's a piece of 1.25 inch, 1.5 inch angle. I think I'm going to throw another one over here because this is kind of a wide area here. And that'll help hold the expanded metal up. And then I think right here we're going to trim the bottom corner, like 45 that off so it's not sticking out so far. So we'll cut another one to go there. The other brace has been put in. We 45'd off the bottom corners of that. Next thing I want to do is, looking at the trailer tongue, it looks pretty flimsy even though it's not. That piece of 3-inch channel, plenty beefy enough to pull this trailer, but it looks like it. So I'm going to take another piece of 3-inch channel. We're going to box it in on the bottom, cut it at an angle to fit the hitch up there, and then we'll weld that in. The other thing it's going to do is it's going to give me a channel to run the trailer wires up. When we run the trailer wires, they won't be dangling around out here on the outside. They'll come neatly right up underneath that, and it'll look a lot cleaner. So let's get that piece cut. Now there, doesn't that look better? I think it does. Looks a little more beefy. So before we get too carried away on building our wood box around here, I want to get the wire wheel and clean all this up. So it'll be a lot easier to do now than later. Probably a good idea to do the tank as much as we can too. So I've been working, I did the other side, I'm working my way around. I'm going to pull the sign back off, get this whole side. Once we take it off and flip it up, we can do the bottom side. But might as well get what we can get now. All right, we'll get the rest of this tank when we stand it up. Let's start making our uprights. I want our wood basket to be 12 inches high. So we need to cut some angle iron at 12 inches. We need at least 4 of them to start with. Okay, we got the corners cut. We got 4 of them. We'll get the square. We'll make sure they're squared up. They're actually 10.5 inches because we got to add the rail on top. But we figured that out just in time. So let's get them welded on there. Corner pieces are welded. Now we're going to cut the long bar that goes across here, and then we'll cut a couple short ones. We'll get those welded in. Cut our long piece on, and then we notched the short piece out down here to go around it. And the piece we notched out, we cap the end over here with it. So just going to weld up the corner here. Okay, there's our corner. Pretty clean. Just going to do the same thing all the way around. This side is done. This piece here looks crooked to you. That's because it is. I had to go down underneath the bracket that holds the tank, but it'll have a matching piece on this side so it won't look terrible. But it doesn't match the back, but that's all right. So I need to cut a piece to go between these two tubes right up underneath the tank. And that'll help support the tank, and it'll tie these two pieces together where they're not going to move around when I pull the tank off. Oh, got this side done. Got the crossbar in the front done. Got those two cross pieces. Got this side done. I put a little notch in this side. Drops down a little bit so you can get in underneath the table there, because this will be like tools and stuff like that. But quite pleased with the progress we got today. So coming on supper time, I think we're going to call it a day. When we come back onto this project, we'll be test firing this thing to see what kind of temperatures we can get out of it, because there are those that would say that my firebox is way too small and my smokestack is too small. But we shall see, because I've built these before and I think it's going to work just fine. This is not a huge tank, so it should be just fine. We're also next time going to be cutting up our expanded metal and putting all the way around and in the bottom of this thing to create all of our wood box and toolbox and all that. So that'll be fun when we get to that. You can see it got a little dirty out here in the shop today, but that's what happens out here. I'm constantly taking my glasses on and off and pushing my glasses up, which makes my nose dirty. But I hope you're enjoying this project as much as I am. I cannot wait to get this thing fired up, and I cannot wait to cook on it. It's been a long time since I used a stick burner. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. Come back to the farm. We'll keep going on this stuff.